Hi everyone, Gary Sims here. Back again with a couple more Cheltenham Anti-Post bets for you. I said they would start to come thick and fast now, and been spending a lot of time this last week delving into particular races, and I want to get some bets out there as swiftly as I possibly can. We've had the first couple of bets. We did the bumper and the Gold Cup in the last video that I put up last week, and today we are now 9 weeks away. So 9 weeks today, a lot of people will be either down at Cheltenham already or travelling down, getting themselves set up for what is likely to be a fantastic week. I've had a look through quite a few races, try to find my bets, and I've come up with one today. The one we're going to start with today is in the Marsh, and well, the Turners as it is now, but the old Marsh. And looking at the market for the Marsh this year, we obviously have the red hot favourite in Bob Olinger. Now, I am a massive Bob Olinger fan, make no bones about it. I think the potential there of him being a superstar is real. He won a very good race at the track last year against Brave Man's Game, beating a horse in Brave Man's Game that I think is also a potential superstar. But you know, at the minute, at 6-4 favouritism, running for a yard that is out of form, there's no two ways about it. You can butter it up as much as you want, but Henry de Bromhead's, especially his leading superstars in the yard, and haven't been particularly firing on all cylinders. Now, yet there's 9 weeks to go. He might turn up at the festival and win as much as he did last year. Was last year a one-off? I don't know, and only time will tell. But when you've got favouritism like a 6-4 in Bob Olinger, who also has only run once over the fences, his chasing debut for me wasn't brilliant. I know there was big comparisons at the time because I think his chasing debut was roughly the same time as Brave Man's Game. People were comparing who was better. There was no question that Brave Man's Game was better on the debut. Bob Olinger's jumping wasn't great at all on his debut. Now, he's not been seen since. That was in November. Can only assume there's been a little setback. I think he's been scheduled to run once or twice since, but hasn't. And we'll potentially see him at the Dublin Racing Festival, where he might put all this to bed, come out and hammer the field and jump brilliantly. But when you've got a horse going into the festival in a novice chase division who has just got the one run at the minute, I'm willing to take him on. As much as I think he's a potential superstar, I'm willing to take him on. In behind, we do have some horses that are obviously not going to run. Some horses that will go to other races. For instance, Classical Dreams in there at 16-1. He's 99% going to be a stayers hurdler. You've got Gallopin de Champs and Brave Man's Game, both 90% going to go to the RSA. So you've got horses in Edwardstone's in there, Arkle. You know, you've got horses in there that aren't going to be in this, even as far back as if you go up to your 20-1 shots. Quilixos, pardon me. Although Quilixos is a chaser in the making, not this year. So it kind of limits the field a little bit in terms of trying to judge what's going to be there and what isn't. And the horses that I like in there, which there are a few of, we'll start with the Willie Mullins Raiders, because the Willie Mullins Raiders are significant in this. Willie Mullins always has a good bullet or two to fire at this race. Always. You look down the years, he's won this 3 out of the last 7 times, and of the 4 that he hasn't won, he had Mellon second, he had Assyrian Flonge third, Kenboy fourth, and Real Steel sixth, I think. So he always has at least one bullet that he fires at this, and that's due to him having a vast array of talent that he always has, horses he can spread over the races, and yeah, he's got a good record in the race, and this year he has 2 that I think are very respectable in there. The first of those at 14-1 is Jungle Boogie. Ran a very respectable race on New Year's Day at Fairyhouse. It was a pretty poor race in my opinion, but he did what he had to do. Jumped very well, slightly left, which won't be a problem at Cheltenham, and could be a danger. He does hold an entry in the RSA, but he hasn't run over 3 miles yet. I think this will be this will be his intended target. So he was one that I was quite keen on, and the other Willie Mullins Raider, Seal de Neige, is another one, 2 out of 2 over fences. Latest win came at Navan, did jump slightly right, which will be slightly more worrying than the Jungle Boogie one. But he's another horse, JP McManus owned, another horse that I wouldn't put your off back in, and came down to my shortlist of 4. Feel a little bit daft leaving a Willie Mullins one out because, like I say, he always has one in and around. But I just ended up liking the other 2. I like the price on one, and I like the form of the other. The first one is La Homme Presse, 8-1. 3 out of 3 over fences. Started with a really good run at Exeter on debut, where he powered home from the last. He shows a real good turn of foot late on, does La Homme Presse, and he beat a horse that day called Gunsight Ridge, who has come out and won since to boost that form. Really impressed with this horse. Like I said, that was his debut run. He came out and won in a Grade 2 handicap next out, beating a couple of half decent Grade 2 horses. Danny Whizbang, Pencil Full of Lead was running that day. I think Pencil Full of Lead actually fell. What's the horse? There was a couple of other decent ones in there, and he won by 13 lengths. Really good win. And then he came out for his 3rd run on New Year's Day at the track at Cheltenham in the Paddy Power Novices Chase, and absolutely powered home from the last, beating the Glancing Queen, having jumped quite well all the way around. And set up an RPR that day, 159, which will put him right in the mix in this race. He'll only have to improve another probably 4 or 5 points on the ratings to be a potential winner of this race. I was really impressed with him, from a trainer in Venetia Williams and jockey in Charlie Deutsch, who were both trainers and jockeys that I like, couldn't put you off. And he was my first pick, so £40 win on him at 8-1. But then I had another horse that I put a slight £10 each way bet on, just because I think his price is a little bit over the top, and that is Paul Nicholls' Pick Dory at 20-1. 2 out of 2 in completed starts. He has had a fall in between those 2 victories, when he was going really well and clearly going to win, and just took a massive leap at one late on and fell. Good to see him come out and win afterwards, because that shows that fall hasn't put him off and done any damage to him. Sometimes these horses can fall and it can knock their confidence. It might be what's up with Envoy Allen, for instance. He's never been the same since falling at Cheltenham last year. There may be other issues there, I'm not saying it is, but you know, it can knock the confidence. So when you see the horse come out and win again, it's a real, you know, it's a good boost, if you like. If it had been 2 wins and then a fall, I might have been thinking a little bit differently, but the fact that he's come out and won since. Paul Nicholls doesn't have the greatest record in this race. It's not a race he does brilliantly in, but he's an excellent trainer, and I think this horse will be targeted at this race. And yeah, he'll be one that's right up the front there, if not setting the pace, maybe just off. And I think he's an excellent jumper, and I can see him running a great race here. And I just thought his price was too much. I think he should be around a 10 or 12-1 shot. So because of that, I stuck a tenner on each way. And yeah, we will see. So they are my 2 bets for the Marsh / Turner's Novices Chase. And next we will move on to the next pick for today, which is in the Ballymore Novices Hurdle. Now, this is a horse I nearly put up first. This is a horse I am massively excited about. He is for a trainer that has been out of the limelight for some considerable time in terms of top-end racing. And this horse fits everything that I like in a horse. One of the best horses in terms of looking that I have ever stood in front of has unfortunately not come to fruition and has been injured since that day, and that is Top of the Game. When I saw Top of the Game at Cheltenham walking around that parade ring, I was absolutely wowed. A big, beastly looking, muscular, amazing coat on him. I was taken aback by how much of being someone from the background I am. I like your horses that would, if you were a horse, I like a horse that would intimidate other horses. And yeah, I can just imagine horses walking on that parade ring, looking at top of the game and thinking, Jesus Christ, I've got my hands full here. And that is how I see this horse being as well. And that horse is a horse called Hillcrest for Henry Daly. Now, I don't know if all of you out there have seen his run on New Year's Day at Cheltenham, where he won the Ballymore there. This horse is humongous. They don't really know, I don't think, 100% how big he is, because Henry Daly's measuring stick only goes to 18 hands and doesn't fit him. So he's bigger than 18 hands. When he turned up at the yard, he weighed just shy of 700 kilos. And thinking on, like you said, average horses in racing yards weigh about 520 kilos. So he is an absolute beast of a horse. And I cannot wait, fingers crossed, to watch this horse walk around that parade ring before and after the race. Now, when he won on New Year's Day, Henry Daly did say in his interview afterwards, there's no guarantee he's going to go back in the spring. Being the big horse that he is, I think it'll be ground depending. You're not going to see him there on good ground. When he won on New Year's Day, it was soft. He has won on good to soft. He's 3 out of 3 over fences to date. He won his debut at Aintree in November. He then went to Wetherby and won at an absolute canter by 20 lengths. And he's then come up and beat the red hot favourite in I Am Maximus on New Year's Day in the Ballymore there. Really good run. I was just so impressed. And when like I've just said to you there, when I see a horse of this size and stature, it immediately draws me to him. And then the fact that he's actually gone on from there and produced the goods means I'm all over him. And it's fitting that he's running in the Trevor Hemmings colours. You know, people are looking now for his name to be carried on. I think I read an article somewhere that there's over 20 young horses in training in the Trevor Hemmings colours in Ireland at the minute. And this is one of them that can hopefully come out and carry his name and bring a win to the Cheltenham Festival. Yeah, he's a chaser in the making, probably a 3-miler. I mean, he steps over them hurdles like the me and you would over a wire on the floor. And I just can't wait to see what the future holds for this horse. Like I say, I'm taking a little bit of a gamble that he's going to turn up at the festival and that it's going to be in this race, that they don't step him up in trip. I hope they don't step him up in trip. He's had 3 runs over 2.5 miles. I don't like the RSA. I don't like the Albert Bartlett and the RSA too early in horses' careers. I'll go into those in other videos why I don't. But, this race is quite wide open in terms of your betting. I think Ginto and Journey With Me are both very good horses and deserve to be at the top of the betting. Sir Gerhard's in there, another horse that I like. But at 20 to 1 for Hillcrest, I'm willing to put £20 each way on him. I think this, I say, I smile every time I think about the horse. It's a horse that gets me really excited. And I think should he turn up, I think he'll take some beating. He's made all in some of his races. Henry Daly did say it would be nice if something made the pace for him, which he'll probably get here and be able to come into the race later on. And with those big strides, I know he said he'd sculled him just before that race on New Year's Day, the day before he'd sculled him, and he just said he just takes 1 stride to other horses 2 strides. And he powered away up that hill, jumped the last nose to nose with I Am Maximus and powered away up the hill to beat him. And I thought it was a very good win. And I think if he turns up in the Ballymore Novices Hurdle, it'll be one of the horses of the week that I'll be shouting home and be most impressed to. I don't always go to the parade ring to see all these horses, but I will that day. That is for sure. So yeah, those are my bets for today. That one is Hillcrest in the Ballymore Novices Hurdle at 20 to 1, £20 each way. And we will catch up with you all soon. Hopefully back later on this week with another bet or two. Speak soon. Cheers.